Okay, now we're going to start modeling this part. And every model in Fusion starts with a sketch. Now, what is a sketch, you might think? It's not paper, of course. We think of sketching as taking place on paper, but in Fusion, it's a little similar to that. It's like drawing on a flat surface. If we look at the view cube in the upper right here, we inserted this canvas on that flat plane, call it the ground plane, the XY plane here, and that's a flat surface. And so, everything starts with a flat sketch, some sort of flat drawing. And so that's what we're going to do, and that's why we inserted it on this surface. I'm going to hit top again to square up. And so we're going to start with a sketch that represents this part. We'll start with just the overall shape of the part, which is a rectangle. So to start a sketch, up here in the Create menu, we're going to select this very first icon here to the left, which is Create a Sketch. Notice that when I pause over a tool up here, it doesn't matter which one, a tip will pop up that will describe what it does and how to use it. So Fusion is really helpful there, and I can also hit Control and the backslash to get more help. Or maybe that's a forward slash. I always get mixed up about that. But anyway, I'm going to click Sketch, and now I just have to click in this box to select this surface to sketch on. It says select a plane or planar face. If I wasn't already looking at this surface flat, if I was looking at it like this, you'd be able to see I could select any of these three planes in 3 dimensions. But since we were already looking at the top surface, all we can really see is this one. So I'm going to click on it. And now it's kind of activated. And you can see it's only showing us a little bit of the grid here. And I'm going to use one of these sketch tools. Look, the sketch tools have all changed. Now we have the tools up here have all changed. Now we're just seeing sketch tools. We have line, rectangle, circle, fit, point, spline, mirror, and dimension. Some modify tools, some constraints. We're going to learn about all these. But know that there's more than just this. If we click the down arrow next to the Create word, we can see there are more things here. In fact, different ways of drawing some of these, like a rectangle or a circle. In this case, we're going to choose the center rectangle, which is a nice tool because it allows us to draw a rectangle centered on something. In this case, we'll use the origin. So, got the center rectangle. I'm going to click on the origin, left click here, and then just move my mouse a little bit and you can see it kind of stretches out a rectangle. And if you notice, the dimensions there are variable right now, but I can type in the size of my rectangle and I can still scroll in and out with the mouse wheel while I'm doing that. I want to be able to see my dimensions over here on the left on my reference, because I can type them in right now. I'm going to type in the vertical dimension, which is 6 1/4, 6.25. Then I'm going to hit my tab key, and I'm going to type in the horizontal dimension, which is 12. And then I'm going to hit the Enter key. And that locks it in. And now you can see that my rectangle has dimension lines on it, indicating how big it is. And there's a rectangle. It has some extra lines in here, these dashed lines, as well as some funny shapes here. These shapes are called constraints. We'll learn a lot more about those right now, but the rectangle is like a black box with a bluish center. That means it's a fully closed, fully defined shape. We'll learn more about what that means. But for now, I can select Finish Sketch on the right on this sketch palette to finish that drawing. And now there's my sketch. And if I zoom out, look, my grid square has really expanded out. Plenty of room to draw. Okay, I'm going to click the Home, which is going to put me back in an isometric view. And now I can see here's my rectangle right on the ground plane. Now the second step to make a 3D solid shape is I'm going to extrude that shape upward, or I could go down, but in this case upward. Now up here in the Create menu again, it's changed back to its original form here, where it's got this kind of standard set of tools. I'm going to use the extrude command. Notice that there's a little letter E next to extrude. That means that I could just type E at any time on my keyboard to activate it. I'm going to do that now. E. Now I can drag the arrow up and make it as thick as I want, but in this case I know my part's 3/4 of an inch thick. So I'm just going to type in 3/4. Notice the dialog here is already showing a value. If I drag this arrow up or down with my mouse, it'll change. But if I wanted a precise amount that I know, I can just type that value in, 3/4. Enter. So you can enter in fractions and you can enter in decimals as well in Fusion.